We begin this morning with Russia's relentless artillery attacks across eastern Ukraine as it bombards key cities in an effort to capture as much of the Ukrainian east as it can. At the same time, Russia is apparently holding two Americans, both military veterans, as prisoners. A third American, also a military veteran, is MIA. The three joined Ukrainian forces to fight the Russians. On Friday, Russian state television showed video of two of the men, Alexander Druky and Andy Wynn, both from Alabama. Chris Livesay is in the city of Kharkiv in northeastern Ukraine with the latest on this. Chris, good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. Yeah, Russian media has wasted no time showing images of those two captured Americans. Their loved ones say they started by offering assistance to Ukrainians, but wound up fighting right here in the Kharkiv area on the front line.
In Russian hands and speaking in Russian, unmistakably under duress. But thank God they're alive, says Alex Druky's mother, Bunny.
I was just relieved. He looks not like he's been beaten or mistreated. That was really encouraging to me.
Druky and Andy Wynn, both former military from Alabama, were fighting in a squadron of foreign volunteers alongside the Ukrainian army. One member told us they were all nearly killed by a Russian vehicle when Druky and Wynn destroyed it with an RPG, saving their lives last week. But then they went missing, says Wynn's fiance, Joy Black.
And that they missed their rendezvous point, and that had been a few days prior. They had gone out and searched. They didn't find anything. And later I found out they'd done drone searches and still found nothing, no traces.
This week, they turned up on Russian media, where the hosts mocked their families as they pleaded for their lives. They went to Ukraine to kill Russians, he says, but ended up being captured by the same Russians. Ukrainians are in their fourth month of war.
Dude, that was right behind you.
But more and more Americans are fighting in it. Now, a third American fighter has gone missing on the front lines. Retired Marine Captain Grady Kerpazzi, a 20-year veteran, reportedly disappeared after taking small arms fire in the Kherson region. For those captured, their fate rests in the hands of Russia, where lawmakers have called for the death penalty.
If you could say anything to the people who he's with right now, what would you say?
To treat both of the boys in humane, give them humane treatment and just, take care of them.
Now, as for other Americans considering coming to Ukraine to fight, President Biden has told them to stay home. Russian media says they'll be treated as mercenaries and not according to the protections of the Geneva Convention. Dana?
Not good news for their families there. Chris, thank you. Concern is mounting that the Senate may not be able to meet its self-imposed deadline to finalize its details for a bipartisan gun reform deal. 10 Democrats and 10 Republicans announced a compromise package last week to curb gun violence in the wake of recent mass shootings. But after several meetings this week, lawmakers are still at odds, mainly over two provisions, including what's known as the boyfriend loophole that prevents domestic abusers from owning guns. Christina Ruffini is at the White House with more. Christina, good morning.
Good morning, Dana. Well, following those shootings in Uvalde and Buffalo, lawmakers vowed to come together and come up with common sense reform. But the longer it takes those senators to get that deal to the floor for a vote, the longer its detractors have to pick the legislation apart.
As a teacher, I've imagined that scene in my own classroom again and again.
Speaking to the National PTA Convention Friday, First Lady Jill Biden implored Congress to take action on gun control.
We need to fight now for the lives of our children and for the safety of our schools.
This week, a bipartisan group of senators announced they'd agreed to a basic framework of a deal, including enhanced background checks for gun buyers under 21 and new funding for school mental health and security programs.
I'm more hopeful than ever that we have a handle on all of the issues.
But lead Republican negotiator John Cornyn had to defend the deal to a hostile GOP convention back home in Texas.
But I will not, under any circumstance, support new restrictions for law-abiding gun owners. That will always be my red line.
And some Republicans, like fellow Texan Ted Cruz, are already expressing concern about the inclusion of so-called red flag laws.
Anyone that tries to take away our Second Amendment rights, I will stand and fight to defend our liberties.
Lead Democratic negotiator Connecticut's Chris Murphy says the group of senators has committed to move forward with the deal.
I have continued confidence that we can write that framework into text, and we can have that before our colleagues next week.
President Biden has endorsed the framework of this deal, so has Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, but lawmakers still have to work out rules about what they want to do. There's a provision that would ban domestic abusers from buying guns. They're also at odds about what to do about sending money to states that have red flag laws that allow courts to confiscate guns from people they believe pose a risk. Michelle?
A lot of work ahead. Christina, thank you.